Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be joined by my coach, co-host of the C Squared podcast, and also a second of Fabi, Christian. So happy to have you here.
Good to see you, Harshit. You've been here for the last week or so. So, yeah, it's great to see you. And it's kind of an interesting position because, I'm used to doing the interviews myself. And you used to be, you used to be a student of mine not a long time ago when you were at the university. Now, not anymore. But now you're starting to do your own thing with the interviews as well. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been inspired by you because when I was studying from you, you were, wearing so many hats. You were not just coaching me, you were also seconding Fabi, you were commentating. You have this C Squared podcast that many of you have, many of the people have seen you there.
Yeah.
And in this tournament, we are in Cyprus. It's already 12 rounds in. How have the last 2 weeks been for you here?
Well, very, very tense for the first, I would say, 6, 7 days, 6, 7 rounds. And then, after actually more than that, after round, what was it, round 9, right? He lost in round 8 against Hikaru and lost in round 9 against Giri. And that was very, very tough, a tough pill to swallow. And then things became a bit more relaxed after that, just because we had to do it, the tension was simply not working, and we had to relax a little bit and stop the bleeding, as they say. But it's been a good time, and to be honest, this is probably the best place that we've had candidates in a long time. I did not go in 2018 in Berlin. I was working with Fabi at that time, but I did not go to Berlin. I was in 2024 in Toronto, and this is not even close to that. It's a very nice place, and obviously time passes very quickly around here.
And you have been part of Fabi's team for such a long time now. You helped him in 3 candidates, or maybe even 4.
This is the third one.
This is the third
one. Yes, 2018 was the first time. I was not on location with him, but I was part of the team at that point. 2024, I was part of the team and on location, and then this one as well. So
and from the team's perspective, how is it different? For example, when Fabi is doing well, like, is it the same kind of an atmosphere?
Of course not.
And then, like, otherwise, how do you, as a, not just as a friend but also his second, cheer him up or motivate him to keep going?
No, I think this is kind of one of the main jobs. Obviously, you have the technical aspect of being a second, where you have to analyze openings, and you have to kind of, and I think you guys did, maybe it was you, maybe it was some newspaper from India. I saw an article saying that the seconds are becoming younger and, let's say, less experienced. Like, experience doesn't matter as much, but you need to be able to press the stockfish button until 3 a.m. in the morning. That's the technical aspect of the job. But of course, you have the intangibles, I guess, of the jobs, which is to build a rapport with your player. And the psychological aspect is extremely important when you do well, to tamper it down, not allow your player to get too hyped up. When the player is doing bad, to not allow him to, dwell in that feeling, in that, let's say, pity feeling too much, right? Because you still have a ways to go in the event. And I always tell my students, we'll count the points at the end of the tournament, and we'll address all the questions and what we learn throughout the event at the end of the tournament. Until then, the job is pretty much not done, and that's kind of the way it is. But what was your question? I think it was something about what I just talked for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, no, I think also talking about being a favorite in the tournament and having this pressure, and how you're kind of helping Fabi coming in this. Also, I think in the last candidates as well, Fabi was a favorite. In many of the tier lists.
But I don't think that, I don't understand this type of he's a favorite, but almost never the favorites win in the candidates, at least not on paper, right? You have Hikaru, who is a favorite on paper by rating. Going into this one, of course, you have Fabi as number 2, but everything is so tight together, right? And then you have a player that just has a monster event every now and then. To be honest, Sindarov was already kind of giving notice to the chess world that he was warming up to be great. I mean, I think he hasn't lost in something like 50 games, so he was definitely riding a very hot streak. Everybody could see him doing well in this one, but it's just it's such a tournament that hangs on one or two good moments. And even for Sindarov, for example, round 1 against Espenko, he got the worst position, in fact, with the white pieces. If that turned sour for him, I don't know how the whole tournament would have played out after that. But he obviously got a boost of confidence after that win. So it's one of those tournaments that they're marked by a couple of very, very important moments, and you hope that the moments will go your way. That's kind of the plan.
Yeah, right now I think it feels as if Sindarov, like everything has worked out from his preparation. Like it feels as if he's getting good position from the opening. And you were talking a bit about how the stockfish, the engines have become stronger. How has the preparation changed since the engines have become stronger? Do you have to somehow integrate a more human perspective while preparing?
I think it was much more human back in the days, because you were working alongside the engine almost as a peer. Of course, you understood that the engine is probably much better than you, but right now it's not even recognizable. Like you have to trust the engine pretty much 100%. And we actually just had an instance that the tournament is not over yet, but we had an instance yesterday when we were going through some lines and we spotted a line that the engine did not see it was losing. Oh, wow. Like the engine was just saying that it's equal, this is the way to go. And then at some point you make a move and the engine thinks for like 2 minutes and then it gives plus minus immediately. Oh, wow. So that, you end up in this type of situation, this type of pitfalls, you blindly follow the engine and it can be dangerous as well. And I think it was just a stockfish bug because, I tried different engines and it was just a bug. None of the stockfishes were, stockfishes, I guess that's a word, were seeing those variations. So yeah, it's an interesting, very analytical, I would say, work because you do have to be quite organized in creating your files, and I would say it also matters very much who you're working for and what their expectations are. For Fabi, I mean, obviously, the highest of the expectations are there, and you have to abide by them. And the good thing is that he's also extremely good at what he does, so that helps push the whole team.
And in this event, I think it's not just you. There is also Oparin Grigory, a good friend of mine, a student of yours as well. You have been having this chemistry it's kind of evolving now because I think it started around 2019, 2020. And how has, what's the secret ingredient that makes this chemistry of three of you working together so special?
Well, 2019, 2020 is when Grigory came to Mizzou. I think it was 2019, the first year when we started the program. Mizzou, University of Missouri, for people that are not aware of collegiate chess scene in the United States, we have a few programs that are quite decent. We have one of them right now, and that started in 2019. Grigory was one of the first students, actually, that joined the team. So I think he started working with Fabi around 2023, maybe 2022, 2023. I think Fabi sort of restarted working with me in 2022, and I believe it was 2023 when I recommended Grigory, and they started working together on a regular basis. And I think, Grigory has been doing a tremendous job with Fabi, and Fabi enjoyed the cooperation since. I kind of took a step back, and this was kind of also my idea because I have commentary as well. A lot of the tournaments that I travel for commentary. In fact, commentary, I would say, it's much more of a main job compared to coaching Fabi. But in terms of the three of us, I would say the first time was 2024 when we all three of us kind of gathered and worked for
Toronto?
For the candidates, obviously before the candidates as well, because you have the training camps before the candidates and then during Toronto as well. And Fabi, who makes those decisions in the end, enjoyed that cooperation, and we're on the team in 2026 as well.
And in this tournament, we are 12 rounds in.
Yeah.
How was Fabi's feeling when it kind of became clear that Sendarov is just running away with it? I think already after 6 rounds he had 5.5 points.
Yeah.
How was the reaction in the team? Did you guys kind of change your strategy to play more aggressive suddenly in the middle of the tournament, or how did the strategy change?
I cannot say that we changed too much, especially not after the first 7 rounds, because at that point, what was Fabi, I think, was 1.5 points behind Sindarov. Obviously, a very steep hill to climb, but still you have 7 rounds to go. So we didn't feel necessarily that we're in must-win situation territory at that point. And maybe that was not the greatest of decisions. Maybe we should have went a little bit more aggressive against Hikaru. Against Hikaru didn't work out at all. And after the game against Hikaru, I feel a lot of things would have been needed to go very, very well for Fabiano and very bad for Sindarov to be able to catch up with him. So the thing is, I think one of the most important dynamics in candidates in general is when you are the chaser rather than the leader, I think there's a pretty big pressure on every single move, because you're chasing already, you lose one game, the distance becomes bigger and bigger. So I feel the leader obviously has some pressure as well to perform and to make the best moves and to not misstep at all. But I think it's much more difficult on the chaser. So it's true, and I think we've seen some data in that regard as well. Usually whoever leads after, I believe I was reading this, after the first 4 rounds, it has a great chance to potentially top it off.
It's Fabi's 6th candidates.
Yeah.
He won it once and then played the match against Magnus in the World Championship. Do you think there was additional pressure on him? Maybe because there has been this rise of so many strong youth players, right? Because Sindarov had this meteorical rise from 2680 to almost, 2770 now. Do you think that kind of puts some additional pressure on him? Maybe thinking that, this might or how does that kind of feeling go?
I don't think so, but it's very difficult for me to speak for Fabi in that regard. Candidates are a pressure cooker, no matter where you are in the standings, if you're the lower rated player in the event, if you're the higher rated player in the event, you're going to feel the pressure no matter what. And of course, what you do with that is kind of what dictates, the way the tournament is going to work. But I don't think there was any additional pressure because one player was doing better than the other. I mean, there's always very good players that are coming into the candidates. We have the best players that are coming into the candidates, right? So, Prague could have been in an incredible situation and repeat what he did in 2025, And then what do you do? 2025, he was winning every tournament. Sindarov, obviously, what he did here was absolutely, historical. 6 out of 7. He didn't match Topalov 6.5 out of 7, but still, 6 out of 7 is an absolutely ridiculous score. So, and after that, he was sort of able to coast and able to take advantage of the fact that a lot of players, again, were feeling the pressure to try to catch up, and then they were making mistakes because of that. But I have to say, Sindarov just took his chances. Every single game, I think every single chance that he got, he took it. He defended incredibly well when he played against Fabiano. There were some chances for Fabi at some point. I think he was able to play this move King to E1 instead of playing the move G4. g4 allowed black to go h5 and sort of open things up on the king side. And then even after that, everything works by a tempo because it's a race. You have the race of the pawn on the queen side for white, and the pawns, I guess, and the king coming in on the king side. So yeah, I mean, to get back to your question about the pressure, I don't think there was anything different than what it usually is. I mean, you should be feeling the pressure if you're coming to the candidates.
It was very insightful to hear, your words about his feeling and as your role as a second. Talking a bit about your, other endeavors, C Squared podcast. It has
Yes.
been one of the, most growing podcasts in the chess scene. Maybe one of the most popular ones as well. How has that been shaping up in the recent times for you?
Yeah, the C Square podcast. I mean, it's a passion project for both of us, for myself and Fabi as well. I think we started 2022. We started right when the Hans Magnus situation happened. I think one of the first few episodes were in St. Louis, actually. So yeah, we got a good start in that regard. Now we're kind of a little bit slowing down because it's very difficult to find the time with Fabi traveling all the time, with me traveling as well. But mostly, Fabi, it's very difficult to do this type of things during the tournament, all right? Not everybody is Hikaru who are able to do their recap 20 minutes after the game is over. That's a skill in and of itself. So yeah, it's a passion project. We definitely will keep going with it, and I think I'm enjoying it. So yeah.
No, I mean personally, like not just because I know you so well, but
Mm.
also as a chess fan, I think I've genuinely enjoyed watching your podcasts a lot.
Thank you.
I'm always waiting to see when the next one is coming out.
Thank you.
I think you made one right before the start of the event.
We did
like
one.
Day before.
We actually had some footage from the rest day, but I just didn't get to send it to the editor and edit it. And then you know the thing with podcasts and content, you kind of have to do things as they happen, and I just simply didn't have the time to do that at this tournament.
Cristian, you also have a big change in your personal life.
Yes.
You've become a father
recently,
so very hearty congrats for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
How is the feeling?
Oh, it's great. I think it's the best thing that has happened to me. I mean, I'm enjoying fatherhood. Obviously, it comes with its responsibilities and the sleepless nights, but yeah, I mean, it's absolutely great. Yeah.
And
not much more to say about that. If you're ever wondering whether you want to have kids, but obviously that's a very personal decision for me. Yeah, I think it's the greatest thing ever.
Wow. And then how, being from Missouri, you're living there now in Colombia.
Yeah.
Very close to St. Louis. St. Louis is the St. Louis Chess Club is always expanding.
Mm-hmm.
It has been an organization that has been helping collegiate universities. It has also kind of brought so many strong players
Mm-hmm.
in the St. Louis Chess Hub. How has that support been vital for the not maybe for you and for the overall like maybe even in Fabi's team?
Well, I think nothing would have been able. We wouldn't be able to do anything without the St. Louis Chess Club. At least myself, I've started doing, I think, a little bit of commentary in 2016 with the St. Louis Chess Club, and then it evolved into more duties, including the university. But our university is not the only one which is supported by the St. Louis Chess Club, and their support is immeasurable. If we didn't have their support, I don't think we would be able to create a program at Mizzou. Same can probably be said about St. Louis University as well. So yeah, a lot of, I think before they started the club, there was maybe an international master in St. Louis and the surrounding area, since it's one of the hottest places in chess, with so many grandmasters. You walk down the street, you're going to see a grandmaster in St. Louis, and you have all these incredible tournaments right now. the tournament schedule is expanding for the club as well as for everybody else, and then you got the conflicts as well. But yeah, it's their sport is very important for us.
I was someone who was, very lucky to be studying at the University of Missouri, and I was having a full scholarship from the St. Louis Chess Club.
Well, the scholarship it's from the university.
Okay.
The scholarship is definitely from the university, but the St. Louis Chess Club is a supporter of the program, so they help us putting the funds for the scholarship as well. It's kind of an interconnected effort between the St. Louis Chess Club and the university. The university is also doing a great job in that, and allows us to grow as we want and gives us all the support necessary. And I think it shows in the results as well.
I have so many people asking me, not just after I graduated, but while the time I was at Mizzou, that how is it for a chess player to move to the US and kind of balance, this both academics and chess. And Christian, you're the perfect person to ask about this. What would you recommend for the budding IMs or GMs who are around the age of 18, 19, 20 when they're trying to make this decision of coming to the US to study?
Look, I think it's one of the biggest opportunities that exists right now in the world of chess for up-and-coming talent. Obviously, if you're Erdogmus 2700, I'm probably not expecting to have you on my team or any other team in collegiate chess, because obviously you're going to become a full-time chess professional. But I think even if you're at the 25, 26, even 2650s level, and right now we have Ariantari, for example, who's very close to that, I do think that, in fact, taking a little bit of weight off your shoulder of just being a chess professional and having, travel tournaments, everything, everything is weighted so heavily on your result and your performance, right? You have a bad tournament, you lose 20 rating points, then you kind of fall into depression, and that's a very difficult lifestyle. And I would say adding a collegiate degree, adding a completely new experience, because I think the experience, you can find a lot of things to study on the internet by yourself. You will learn a lot in university, but you will also learn from the experience, the lived experience in a completely new environment. You're going to make new connections, you're going to meet new people from all walks of life, and I do think that's quite an important part of life in general. At least that's the way I see, So,
is this because you want all the Indian 2600s to come? Or?
Oh, I would love, look, if you're 2600, please give me a call. And if you're interested in coming to university, definitely give me a call. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a very good opportunity.
Yeah, also personally for me, it was, I was also not sure. But for everyone who is potentially thinking to come, I also would wholeheartedly say that going there was a very good decision in my life.
Well, I would say even from the chess perspective, a lot of the players that I've had at the university actually increased their rating and in fact got a lot of new opportunities as well. Given that you're so close to the St. Louis Chess Club, right? Given that there's so many tournaments that are happening there, I don't know if Grigory would have worked for Fabi if he was, still studying in Russia,
right?
Or anywhere else. Like those type of opportunities that you don't see when you first come there, and then a lot of new doors are opening up for you. This vicinity to the St. Louis Chess Club, a lot of things are happening at the St. Louis Chess Club. So I think putting yourself in that type of environment, which values chess, I think it's extremely important. And having a team as well, because as a chess player, you're always like, okay, I should build a team around me, of seconds, and that's going to help me achieve all this great success. But a team of seconds costs a lot of money, right? A team of seconds might not be your friends. But when you come to the university, you basically have a team already set up in place for you. you have myself, you have Grigory, who is our assistant coach. So you basically have the coaches of Fabi ready to help you as well. And then you have all the other teammates, which are also going to share their knowledge with you and try to help you grow as a player and as an individual as well. And I think that separates our program from others. We have a very deeply rooted sense of community within our team.
I think this, answer that you give will really help a lot of parents as well to kind of decide to make that decision a bit easier. We have 2 more rounds here, Christian, at the candidates. What's the what's the mindset going into these 2 rounds? Is it just like play? Like, do you want this tournament to finish now, or do you still want to do do you still want to give your best in the last 2 rounds? What's the mindset like?
No, you have to give your best in the last 2 rounds, of course. The pressure is off in terms of the result, at least for Fabi. I don't know if for Anish is still within reach, but it's a pretty slim chance. Right. Let's be frank about it.
Yeah.
Sindarov has white in the last round against Wei. I think Anish even spoke about it in his press conference. It's very difficult to see Sindarov losing 2 games in a row when he hasn't lost in, 50, 60 rated games, and Anish winning 2 games in a row. So it's a very small chance. In terms of Fabi, obviously he's out of contention for first place, but I think he wants to do his best in the last 2 rounds. He's not feeling the tension that he felt at the beginning of the tournament. It's a much more relaxed atmosphere within the team, and I think Hikaru was onto something when he said that a lot of people are on vacation right now. It's not really like that. Obviously, you still do the preparation, but most of the players come here for first place and first place only. But there's still 2 very important games to be played. Rating matters. Confidence matters. If you win 2 games, I can guarantee that you're going to go into the next few tournaments in a much better mood. So pretty much everything matters, and Fabi knows that, and he's going to give his best.
Christian, thank you so much for this wonderful interview. I think
you.
This was very insightful, and I wish you all the best for the remaining 2 rounds.
Thank you, and congratulations to you as well for doing such a great job with the commentary and with all the interviews. And yeah, I think you've established yourself as the in-house grandmaster for ChessBase India. So I think that's great.
Thanks a lot, Christian.
Yes, for sure.